Be quiet, Ginger.
For centuries, great minds have sought the solution of that baffling problem: how did the world begin? Here's one answer. The world, or rather the globe, begins with strips of paper pasted onto a round of solid wood. Globe making at a famous Willesden, London firm of geographers. The wooden ball is treated with tallow, which allows each half of the globe to come away, a hollow shell of stiff paper. This is stage 2 of a 15-hour job.
Long ago, when the world was thought to be flat, this man would have been punished for an act of heresy. As it is, he continues a complicated craft dating back to 1492, when the first globe was made, also the year Columbus discovered America, not, of course, with a globe to help him.
Firmly glued and a good rough proportion, the world in miniature now receives the first of 9 separate layers of plaster, built up to a thickness of 1/8 of an inch. Moulding takes about 6 hours. A fine, smooth surface is imparted by a template. You can't have mountains where nature never put them. You can't have a world without seas and continents either. Once the globe is set and dried, it passes to another department where the business part is pasted on.
Like restoring the skin to a peeled orange, the colored printed sections exactly cover the surface.
Here, a fraction of an inch out may put you 1,000 miles on the wrong side of geographical truth. Globes are printed in all languages. 90% are for export to schools in every country.
90% are for export to schools in every country.
90% are for export to schools in every country.
World's going out to the world. Final process is a coat of varnish applied by spray gun. 1,000 globes a week leave this factory, all sizes from an inch diameter to 5 feet. Lucky the globe maker in his job. While the rest of mankind does its best to blow it up, he's always building a new world. Every mile...
From the reenactment of an historical ceremony to a place where history is always being repeated. Here, at a famous North London firm of geographers, 60,000 globes of the world are made every year. How the real world began has always been a fascinating study, but there's a set method of world making at these workshops, a complicated craft dating back to 1492, when the first known globe was made. Round a solid ball of wood is built up a hollow shell of stiff paper, which is then coated with plaster. Nine separate layers of plaster are applied, to a thickness of 1/8 of an inch. Moulding takes about 6 hours, and a fine, smooth surface is imparted to the world in miniature. Once the globe is set and dried, it passes to another department where the covering map is pasted on. Like restoring the skin to a peeled orange, the colored printed sections exactly cover the surface. But the covering process calls for a keen eye and steady hand. A fraction of an inch out will put the world miles out of joint. The globes come in a large variety of sizes and purposes, from an inch in diameter to 6 feet, and ranging in price from 16 shillings to £1,000. The different types of globe include celestial, political and relief, or slate-coloured spheres for use with chalks. In keeping with their subject, the globe makers have a world market. 90% are made for export. They're printed in all languages, including Russian, and the majority go to schools.
In keeping with their subject, the globe makers have a world market. 90% are made for export. They're printed in all languages, including Russian, and the majority go to schools.
From From first to last, the complete job takes 15 hours. A final coat of varnish adds a protective shine. Nearly 100 of the staff have been there for more than 30 years. While the rest of mankind does its best to blow the world up, they like building a new one.
Globes have always been a source of fascination, whether it's displayed as a work of art or an education tool.
To take this big planet that we're on and encapsulate it into this little model is very intriguing to people.
Replogol is the largest manufacturer of the world. Behind the global empire is a reputation for innovative design, precise mapping, and an ongoing demand for globes.
The credo was once a globe in every home is now a globe in every room.
The Explorer globe has 3D relief and advanced cartography, and no matter where you drop your finger, it's guaranteed bang on.
To have a child be able to feel, oh wow, there's the world, the internet can't replace that.
As the most accurate model of our planet, nothing can match the geography of a globe. Replogol has been manufacturing the world for over 80 years.
The concept that we live on this round object is really foreign to people until you actually show them the globe. And they're intrigued by it. I'm still intrigued by it.
The challenge is mapping the world in a two-dimensional virtual space and having it translate into a physical sphere.
That would be looking at a globe on a computer screen in a flat form and trying to envision what this thing will look like as a 3D model.
The designing of the world starts at the cartographer's desk.
What we do is we take science and aesthetics and try to blend those together to develop a real-world model of the world.
Aesthetics are important in conveying the vast amount of information on a globe clearly.
We're going to want country names to stand out more than city names. We're going to want mountain features to not only label that mountain range, but kind of show the extent and the direction of that mountain range.
With the design and layout ready, the map is printed and glued to chipboard.
The map is printed on paper using a high gloss finish.
Holes are punched into the north and south poles.
There's a light here, and you just place it directly in the middle of the light.
The maps then move to a 60-ton hydraulic press, which cuts out the excess space.
When you set it up so it lined up all the lines around the map.
There are 2 cuts per hemisphere.
The most important one is the first one you cut right on the line, and then the second one, if you don't cut the first one right, the second one is messed up also.
The excess space is called gores.
The space between those gores is removed so that the geometry, when it's then pushed into a sphere, allows that geometry to come together and actually match up.
Now the hemispheres are turned from 2D surfaces into their final 3D form.
This is the liner. Then you put this out here. This is north side, this is south side.
Inside those hemispheres is where the mountains are actually already engraved into the steel. The pressure from the punch is great enough that it forces the material from the cardboard up into those mountains.
When I took one home to my grandkids, they never had one before. They took them to school and showed it to the kids at school, and they were just excited. They said, oh, my grandma makes the world.
When I took one home to my grandkids, they never had one before. They took them to school and showed it to the kids at school, and they were just excited. They said, oh, my grandma makes the world.
When I took one home to my grandkids, they never had one before. They took them to school and showed it to the kids at school, and they were just excited. They said, oh, my grandma makes the world.
After making the 2 halves of the world, the hemispheres get trimmed at
the equator.
All of the globe maps are printed with excess ocean and land mass, so that when we do the trimming process, we do have a little bit of a fudge factor.
This is what makes the globe. If we don't trim these, you can't put them together.
That fudge factor is important, allowing the 2 hemispheres to be trimmed so they align perfectly.
What I do is I trim the north and the south, send it over to assembly, they put it together, we send it out.
Replogol has been putting the world together for 83 years.
The Explorer was first introduced in 1930 and was one of the very first items that the company made.
Luther Replogol is the name behind the brand.
He developed the globe business, and his credo was that there should be a globe in every home.
With 250 models sold globally, this company has brought the world to the world. Before this globe goes out to the world, the 2 halves need to come together.
I first cut this one half shell in to get hot glue on it. I get hot glue on it. Then I take the half shell out, sit it over here to put what we call a hoop in it.
The two halves make a hole, and the equator is taped for extra hold. The time dial, meridian, and base are all attached to the north and south poles.
The meridian on the globe basically holds the Earth at the tilt of its axis.
Available in several different languages, the Explorer globe travels all over the world.
We make French globes, German globes, Spanish globes, Hebrew globes, Chinese globes. I think we also did one in Swahili at some point.
Having a globe in a classroom that students can touch is an experience the internet can't match.
It's not the same as having a globe in a child's hands and them understanding that this is the Earth that we live on.
Shh, be quiet, Ginger.